Oh. Okay. Do we go into roll call? I don't remember without my big agenda in front of me.
Yeah, roll calls first.
Okay, thank you.
Call to order, then roll call. Was the meeting called to order?
Yes, we moved the meeting to call to order.
Okay, I'll go ahead and take roll. When you hear your name, say present. Chair Lappin.
Present.
Vice Chair Ritter.
Present.
Commissioner Elliott.
Present.
Commissioner Hanson.
Present.
Commissioner Warren.
Present.
Commissioner O'Halloran.
1 second, he's in as attendee.
I'll skip ahead to Commissioner Winters.
Present.
And Commissioner O'Halloran.
Present.
All right, let the record show all commissioners are present.
Nate, is the next agenda item the Pledge of Allegiance?
It is,
Yes.
and I can share an image of a flag. You give me one moment. All right, are you able to see that?
Yes,
Yep.
thank you. All right, unmute yourself so I'm not the loudest one on here, please. We'll all figure it out. All right. I pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Nice job. So Nate, do you mind putting up an agenda for us? Is that possible? Or,
I can bring it up.
okay, thank you.
So the next item is special presentation from Nick Buck.
Great, thank you.
Nick, why don't you go ahead and take it and I'll share the agenda after.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Why don't you guys can go ahead and get started and I'll share the agenda after when we need it.
Okay, sounds good. Hi, everybody. Good to see you all. It's been a while, I think. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Here tonight just to update you on our excitement to launch the Outer Spatial mobile app this fall. We're gearing up to announce that, like I said, in the fall 2022. The free app is something that's fun. It's an engaging tool for users to get information about hiking, biking, horseback riding, visiting all of our awesome parks, beaches, and viewpoints in Encinitas. You can think of it as a virtual visitor center for Encinitas' awesome places to explore. On the app, the city is able to list accurate and current information with pictures, facility descriptions, detailed amenities, and links to help users find something new or better prepare for their outings in Encinitas. The app also ensures that hikers and trail users of all kinds stay on the paths and in the designated areas. Just want to give you an update about the project timeline and what we're working on right now and where we've been. We've been working on this for, kind of a little bit slowly in the past year. Certainly we've been busy with other things too and adjusting to things that go on. But in the past year, we've been working with our GIS teams to really take a great opportunity to clean up a lot of our GIS data, make sure that what we have in our GIS data set is accurate and reflects what we have in our parks, beaches, trails, facilities right now. We've been doing a lot of work there and just kind of massaging that data so that when we publish it to Outer Spatial, that it's all accurate and everything works. So we've been busy with that, especially in the last couple of months. And now we're working on using Outer Spatial's back-end manager of kind of plugging in a lot of content and all the bells and whistles, getting it looking good and ready to launch and be really fun and useful. It's our goal, like I said, to launch it really looking at about the middle of August is when things would go live and we really start promoting things pretty heavily. And we also intend to launch Outer Spatial to the public with a route challenge that we hope encourages people to use the app and find and explore some curated walks and hikes in Encinitas. Upon launch, we're going to have approximately 30 points of interest, including a lot of the favorites like Moonlight Beach, Encinitas Ranch Trails, Encinitas Community Parks, a lot of our other facilities and viewpoints and places to explore. So that's kind of where we're at with things right now. We're excited that we're making progress on this and getting ready to launch. We think it's going to be a really useful tool for our public to enjoy. Joining us this evening is Zach Locke. He's from Outer Spatial. And Zach's going to give us a demo of the product and kind of show us some of the best use that some other agencies, other cities are doing with it that can get us excited about what we might do with it as well. So Zach, thanks for being here, and I'll kick it over to you.
Sure thing. Thanks, Nick. Hi, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. Just a quick introduction. My name's Zach Locke. I'm the growth executive here at Outer Spatial. I was asked to just give a quick presentation, kind of demo the app, share some features, show some of the way different groups throughout California are utilizing the app and leveraging the platform. This is really nice. I've presented for a couple commissions now, and seldom do I get to present early and first. So thank you all for that. That is very exciting. So just to give you guys a quick agenda, I'm going to start it with just a quick 5-slide slide deck just to give you a little quick overview, give you a little background info. And then I'll just pop in doing a straight share from my phone and show you guys some of the features and some of the different ways that's being used throughout the state. So let me get this up. All right. Oh, whoops, wrong button. All right, can I get a thumbs up if you guys are seeing the screen? That started on the wrong slide for me, so that's lovely. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, there we go. So Outer Spatial, empowering organizations to deliver the best outdoor experience to visitors. So just to take you guys through real quick. So Outer Spatial at its core is a mobile application. It's also a website. It's really just focused on getting people outside, making the experiences accessible, interesting, and enjoyable as possible. To give you a quick kind of breakdown of what the system really contains, there's 3 major components. Manager, which is the back end. So that's what Nick and the rest of the department is working on loading GIS info into, content. Really all the features of the app can be ran and managed from Manager. So that's the system that's more on the back end for you guys to utilize. For visitors, what your community will see, it's the mobile and web version. Mobile obviously being our major value proposition, and that being a free iOS and Android app that's available to everyone. There's no data selling, there's no in-app purchases or anything like that. Everything is coming from an official organization or nonprofit, and everything in the app is only your information. We don't own any of the information. So that's part of what the value of the mobile app is. Web is just a kind of a value add to it. It's really just a free website that people can go to and get extra information about online. It's not meant to replace your website. It's just supposed to be an extra place for people to go and get that recreation information. So that was web, as I just shared. Here's just some visuals of web just to show you. Feel free to pop onto the Outer Spatial website, poke around, try to find some different adventures near you. Mobile. So mobile, I'll obviously get into a demo, but I just wanted to take you through this quick slide. It has pretty much everything you expect in a newer major mobile application, from discovering events, different recreation information, alerts, real-time posts. You can get closure information. Pretty much everything that you'd expect in a comprehensive recreation application is a part of the system. So the last thing I want to share before I pop into just demoing the application for you is the whole purpose in our ethos here at Outer Spatial is to bridge the gap between organizations and people that are recreating and enjoying the land that you guys manage. We felt that in the mobile application landscape for a long time, that's a really big gap that exists. So that's really what we prioritize here at Outer Spatial, is creating that open communication between you land managers and the community that's using your land. So let me stop my share real quick. I'm going to pop over to a mobile share and take you to the more exciting stuff. All right. You got a thumbs up if you guys can see my phone screen. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so this is Outer Spatial. This is what the application looks like when you open it up. I opened it up and I put it in the California community. When you open up the app for the first time, it's going to know where you are if you allow your location settings to be to be used by the application. Oh, there we go. Okay. Sorry about that. The shares paused for a second. So you guys being in California, you'll load up the California community automatically when you open the app. I'm out here in Colorado. Actually, I live out in Denver, so I had to pop over to your guys' community. But yeah, I just wanted to give you a quick kind of breakdown of the different features and kind of what you can expect from the application. So whenever the app's opened up, you see this big bulletin board. And as you can see in the bulletin board here, it's really a culmination of all our different articles, events, pretty much everything content-wise that's getting put into the app has its own place in the bulletin board. And the bulletin board's really just meant to be a place where people can go and get the most up-to-date information coming from all the organizations that are going into the platform. I'm gonna pop over one tab. You can see the experiences tab here. So this is when people can view all the curated events and articles that are put out by all the different organizations utilizing the platform in your area. So you can scroll through here and get a calendar view and kind of read through all the different events that are going on. So this, for example, is California Department of Parks and Recreation are hosting a wildflower walk. You can view it, get information, see the cost, get directions from your phone, and that's going to leverage whatever native mapping application your phone uses. So Apple Maps, Google Maps. You can get directions, website, phone number to contact, all that information just as part of the event. So that's something you guys can host and post whenever you want, and you'll see events coming into this experience tab from all the different communities or from all the different organizations that are a part of your community, you being in California. So I'm going to pop over to organizations real quick, and I know Nick might pop on at some point here, but let me go alphabetical and pull you guys up. Lots of different organizations in California. Oh, I passed it, didn't I? Here it is. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up, this is your own individual parks page. So really this is your app within the app is kind of the way to look at it. So you can view your page, you can connect and view all your different social medias. You can get direct links to your newsletter. And as you see down here, this is an overview map, and you can also see articles. Events will also be displayed there once you guys get events loaded up into the actual system. But I just really wanted to quickly take you guys through the map and show you where you're at right now. And then I'm going to pop over to City of San Ramon, which is not too far from you guys. And I'm going to basically kind of show what they've done just because they're a little bit more far along in the process. But as you can see here, you have different parks and your boundaries. So if I wanted to go to Indian Head Canyon, click that. You can search around. Everything's interactive. Everything scales when you zoom out and zoom in. So as you can see here, when I'm on your individual page and I click map, or I pull up this overview page down here, it's just going to pull up your specific map. If I go back to the main page and I click the Explore tab, which is down here on this bottom left, this is going to let me view basically all the recreation information from all the different organizations that are in the community. So as you can see, because we have California State Parks and over 50, 60 other organizations in California, it's a really, really robust map. So if I scroll on down to you guys, a little too far, I can view all of your information right there, and I can also see it next to state parks and things like that. So some of the things I wanted to share are just some of the kind of features that you'll get with Outer Spatial that you guys can work up to as a community. So I scroll down here, and I'm just going to go ahead and pop into Torrey Pines State Natural Reserve. So when I select this, every single park, every single asset, trails, points of interest, everything will have its own page curated in Outer Spatial where you can get information, get directions, view content, view different associated articles. So if I go in here, I can go ahead and click overview and view the map of this specific state natural preserve. The reason I wanted to pull this one up is because California State Parks is utilizing one of our cool features that's called Geo-Referenced PDF maps or paper maps. So if you guys have old PDF maps or paper maps that you used to print and hand out, you can easily reference those in the application and get them located right on top of the actual GIS information. So I'll share that now. So if I select map options, I can go down here to paper maps at the bottom and select this Torrey Pines State Natural Reserve Trail Guide, select that, and then click apply up at the top. And you'll see that now when I zoom in, that Geo PDF map that they used to print out and hand out is now referenced directly on top of the actual GIS information. And then if I use this filter toggle right here, I can tap it once. And now you can see all of the trail GIS information is populated on top of the map if I want to interact with viewing on top of the paper map. I can tap it again to remove the paper map and just interact with the GIS information itself. So if people are comfortable with paper maps, it's something that can help kind of bridge that gap. And then another thing I wanted to pop in and show you guys is, let me scroll down and move over to here. Okay, so I'm gonna go up to the search here, type in San Ramon, pull up the city of San Ramon. And I know that you mentioned you want to host the route challenge. So I wanted to kind of share challenges and what that feature is and what it really looks like. So here I am on the City of San Ramon's page. I'm going to go ahead and kind of scroll through here. You can see all their documents here. If I wanted to print out their system rules and etiquette, I can print it out at home, take it with me if I want paper. So any PDFs, any documents you want uploaded, you can get uploaded in the app and store them there. Outings. So this has to do with challenges, which I'll share in just a moment. And then you can see all the different articles that they've written. So these articles could be about, the 10 best wildflower hikes, or it could be about, promoting safety in parks or ecologically sensitive areas. Really any topic that you want to push out and make public, you can through articles and events. So for example, this Alamo Creek Trail, pull this up. It's just a nice little description. They wrote an article about it, and then they linked it to the actual trail itself. So if I click the trail down there at the bottom, I pull up the trail page, and I can get all the different information. I can scroll down to the bottom and I can see allowed access and activities that are allowed, the rules and regulations of that specific trail in that specific park. And if I click on the overview or the map tab, it's going to pull up, and it's going to pull up just that specific trail view. Another thing I wanted to share was on any of the mapping screens, whether it's an individual trail screen, whether it's an organization's map screen, or if you're in the entire Explore map, anytime you can select the GPS button up top, and it's going to immediately geolocate you and put a dot right where you are if you allow your phone's permission location settings to be permitted. So let me scroll out here, and the last thing I will touch on is the outings and challenges. So right now, the City of San Ramon is running a 2022 Trails Challenge, which is really exciting. I'm going to go ahead and click on this first outing here. So what an outing is a lot of times when you're running challenges, when you're running events and things like that, you might want someone to go from one trail to another trail to another trail. Something might not just be a lollipop or an out and back. You might want to do multiple trails in the challenge. So that's where outings come into play. You can basically create your own routes through multiple different layers. So it goes from one trail to the next trail to the next trail. And you can basically put on parameters on it, on whether people can check into the trail, whether they go and participate in the challenge. It's really up to you how you want to do it, but this is an example of how the City of San Ramon's doing it. So this is a loop type trail. They have difficulty settings, so they've set an intermediate difficulty. You can download GPX files, so if you use something like Strava or a trail running or bicycle application, you can easily put that GPX file into that application if you want to work out. So if I scroll down here, I can read more about the trail itself and the challenge. I get the actual overview map, which I can view at any time by pulling up the map. Oh, I went all the way back. I also get an elevation profile of the whole hike right here that I can scroll through and view. And as you can see, we also have that stewardship model. So this is owned by the City of San Ramon, but the actual trail that it takes place on is managed by East Bay Regional Park District. We find it really important to be very transparent with the ownership and stewardship model of the properties that people are recreating on, so people know that who puts the work in for the land that they're on. So let me scroll back here, and the last thing I will show is here on the home tab. So we obviously had bulletin board and experiences, which I went through, which is just events and articles. We have organizations here, which just allows you to view all the organizations in the application. You can go by alphabetical, or you can also sort by your location and whichever is closest to you. The other is the challenge feature here. So this is where you can actually go and view all the different challenges being ran in your community at any time. So you can see Bike Month Challenge is a challenge being run by Explore Solano currently. We have the 2022 Take a Hike Challenge as well. So you can see all kinds of different events going on. One other thing I wanted to share is the social feed. So if I go to City of San Ramon, you can see all the participation that's happening in these challenges if you go over to the social tab. And these are check-ins that are happening in real time from people that are participating in events and challenges. So you can see here, Adrian participated today. So this posts are from today. Keep scrolling down. I can click on a post. I can like the post, I can comment with the post, I can interact with it. If I'm curious what he was doing or where he was, I can select the location, and it's going to take me right to that exact trail challenge outing that he was doing, so I can understand where he was. I can learn more about it and decide if I want to go out and do it. You also have full moderation as the organization on this, and you can make official posts that look a little bit different. Scroll down and see if I can find one. I'll have to get a screenshot of that and share that with you all, but it's an official post. It basically will just have a nice red banner around it and say it's an official post coming from the organization inside the social feed. And that really just lets people interact. You can add a kind of geospatial aspect to challenges, and that's up to you. So you can basically require someone to be actually out on the trail in order to check in, or you can have people kind of retroactively check into trails and challenges that they've done. That's really up to you. You have full autonomy to do that. Really, other than that, the only other thing I will share is this is the Me tab. We don't require anyone to create an account to get on Outer Spatial. This is all publicly available information, completely free to the user. If they do want to, however, sign up for a challenge, post on the application, or bookmark a trail, or do any kind of social posts, then they are required to set up an account. An account just requires an email from them, an email and a first and last name. So that's all we take and all we record on our end. So if you are running a challenge, you will get that email and first and last name of the person that's participating. But yeah, I think that is just about everything. Nick, was there any other specifics that you wanted me to cover or jump to?
No, that pretty well covers it. Thanks for that demo, Zach.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it, everyone. I'm really excited to have you guys all joining Outer Spatial. It's an awesome platform. I think you guys are going to get a lot of value out of it, and I think your community is really, really going to thank you for it.
Thank you. Thank you, Nick and Zach, for that. It was really awesome. Do we have any questions? You can use your raise hand if you want feature, and then we'll go one by one. So Ross, go ahead.
Thank you, Zach. Appreciate the presentation. And Nick, thank you for all the work that you've been doing on the project. I'm curious if you've been in communication with any of our local sister cities or with the County of San Diego as to whether they're also going to be participating in this app?
So I'm not, oh, Nick, go ahead. Did you have a?
Yeah, Ross, to answer that question, yeah, when we had been using another product a few years ago, and that when that kind of closed shop, we were seeking another, a replacement or alternative. And so when we became aware of Outer Spatial, we evaluated it along with other products for a while, and a few other cities local to us were in the same boat. Certainly COVID got in the way of a lot of things, but it's important to us. We think it really gives the app value if a lot of our neighboring communities are also on the platform, so that it makes it worthwhile for someone to download the app and have it in their pocket. So, we can't say exactly what they will or won't do, but we know that City of Carlsbad, this is, in their eyes, the best bet. And, they have interest in getting on the platform. And then County of San Diego, we certainly had plenty of meetings with and talked to quite a bit about apps. And so it's something that's on their radar. Like I said, I can't say whether, what their timeline would be or what their decisions are on, getting on board. But yeah, we have been talking to other agencies, and, having California state parks, really great saturation on the app is good for us too. But definitely it's our wish that a lot of cities get on board so that we can have really good saturation all over the region.
Thank you.
Dan, do you want to go next?
Sure. Thanks to Zach for that great demo, and Nicholas for all the work that you're doing to bring this app to life for us. How are the comments that can be posted moderated, if at all?
Yeah, that's a great question, Dan. So we have a lot of different autonomy with that. So on our end, we do moderation. So we do moderate things. We know it's inevitable that eventually, something could pop up. We do watch it, and we will appropriately respond to that. In our history of having the application, we've never had any issues like that happen. But, as it grows, as it gets bigger and bigger, something like that could be inevitable. There's also tools on your end for managers. You guys can flag posts, you can delete posts, you can moderate posts, you can respond to posts. But then on our end, we do have a team that watches and moderates.
Okay, and there's more details of felt that if needed?
Yeah, I can definitely put you in plug with someone on our customer success or product team who has a little bit more information about how we moderate things. But that I have answered that question several times, that we do moderation on our end, and it is available on your end as well.
Great, thank you. What data is collected? How's it stored? How's it used? How's it shared?
So we don't sell any data. We don't hand out any data. All of the data that we collect is given back to the organization through our analytics portal. On Manager, we have an analytics portal that's basically it's a constantly growing and evolving process where we're getting better and better at reporting analytics. But anything from seeing clicks and usage of your different content, your trails, your maps, and basically seeing time spent on the application, all those are available to you through analytics.
Fantastic. Last question I have right now is from an ad point of view. You guys aren't serving any ads. Can we, the city, serve our own ads?
Yeah, so we don't advertise at all on the platform. So we sell a license to the platform, and it's really up to the city what you guys feel is for Parks and Recreation and to get out to your community. If there's something you want to advertise, that is up to you as an organization to post.
So there is an ad capability, and it's up to us whether we use it or not?
I wouldn't say there's a specific ad capability. You can make articles, you can create events, you can post documents, but it's not an advertisement platform in that sense. It's really a communication tool with your public.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Dave, you want to go?
Yeah. Thank you, Nick, Buck, Zach, Locke. You guys, your names are really in synergy there. We're Chair Lappin and Commissioner Winters and I were on a trails subcommittee, so we might have a few questions. But we've heard of this app before, and I'm really interested in the outings feature. A couple questions. Is that something that staff would create? Like Nick, would you make the outings, or is it something a user can make also?
Yes, so that would be coming from the organization itself. Users do not make outings. So we don't leverage crowdsourcing in the same sense that all trails and things like that do. All of the geospatial information, all outings, all that information is coming directly from the authoritative source, which would be you.
Okay, because a lot of our trails are segments. Like, for example, Encinitas Ranch, we would probably definitely want some complete option for a hiker to be able to take advantage of. Can an outing go outside the city? Because we have lots of trails that connect with Escondido and Carlsbad, and is that possible?
Yeah, absolutely. So if we have the geospatial information already loaded in the app, then it's definitely something we can do. It's just going to fall into that stewardship model of showing who's the owner, and then that you guys are also stewards on the trail. That's really going to come down to if those neighboring cities and counties are also license holders and we have their geospatial information.
Okay. But if you don't, can you still create something, just like if you need to extend, or say if there's an outing you want to make and you have to go onto a Carlsbad street? Does that?
Yeah, I believe there's multiple cases where we've added extra geospatial information, to make something like that happen. That would just be something that I would need to put through my customer success team and product team and discuss with them. But normally that's never an issue when that happens. We can get that extra geospatial data loaded up for you.
Okay, thank you. I was just curious. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, Commissioner Ritter, looks like you've got another question.
Yes, I was curious, kind of in the same vein as Commissioner Warren had mentioned, is the Nature Collective and the San Alejo Lagoon, which is technically county property. I'm curious whether, but they are within Encinitas and Cardiff. Can we include their trails in the map, or how does that work?
And
so, go ahead, Nick.
Zach, I'll touch on that one too. Yeah, Ross, when we were working with GIS data and kind of basically handing over GIS data to outer spatial to load for us, there are a few areas, there are those trails down in the lagoon, which fall within city limits, but they're not ours to manage. Also, like Manchester Preserve is another example where it's owned by CNLM, that we manage. So there are a few of those that we're still evaluating how we might use those, and it would certainly require some dialogue with those other entities to make sure that they're okay with us really promoting the use of those, and in some internal discussion about how we intend to promote or not promote those. But it's possible.
Because I also think that, and again, it depends upon whether the county ends up coming on board with it, but the Nature Collective ends up having lots of special events that they host, and I think it would be value added if something like that could be added to the app.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have a couple of questions, but Commissioners Elliott and Hanson, do you have any questions?
I had a question about vetting, which has already been covered, but I did want to make a comment to Nick. I'm really looking forward to your Trails Challenge because I'm probably the only one here who remembers Walk Wednesdays and the great series you did. So I'm sure you'll be incorporating some of those elements and areas again, and that'll be fun.
Yeah, and really just in the last couple of weeks have I started really digging into the back end of the platform to make sense of things. And so in the next month I'll be working hard to make those things work. And definitely the Walk Wednesdays that we were running with those for like over a year, so we have plenty of good routes. And it's all possible to kind of package things in that way on Outer Spatial and then promote those really well. So looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, thanks.
Commissioner Hanson, go ahead.
My question was asked and answered. I just want to say this is amazing technology, and I was just blown away by what I saw, guys. Nick, Zach, good job. I can't wait till it rolls out. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Brad.
I just had two questions. One, Zach, is your platform built on Adobe Experience Manager? Is that what I saw?
Honestly, I could not tell you. I'd have to reference our product team. Everything I know is native. So everything's iOS and Android native. Nothing is a wrapper. Nothing's a mobile optimized website. Everything is native. As far as the format of the native coding, I'm not positive.
Okay. Nick, if it turns out that's what it is, I'm happy to help you with the back end stuff if you ever need it.
Cool.
That's what I did in my past life. So just put it out there if you need it. My only question really was around hiker feedback. If you have people out using the facilities or on the trails and they notice there's an issue, is there a direct way for them to communicate back to us at the city to let us know that there's an issue on a trail or whatever it may be?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So currently the way we have it is we have a report an error feature. Reporting an error feature basically is whether it's an application error, often people will use it for reporting trail errors and things like that. When it comes in, if it's something we can handle on our end, then we handle it on your behalf. If it's something that is more information that should be posed to you as the organization, we'll get that information to you. Since this is a platform, we constantly have multiple organizations requesting different features and things like that. It is on our product roadmap, hopefully in the near future, but I'm not on the product team, so I can't vouch for that. But I do know that's on our product roadmap is to get a specific report feature button to report specific trail issues and things like that. But for now, if a report an error does come in and it has to do with a trail feature or anything that's correlates to you directly as an organization, then we share that information with you.
Okay. And then I noticed as well on your demo, there's a big plus symbol at the bottom of the bulletin board. What is that for?
Yeah, so I didn't even cover that one. That's so funny. So there's three options when you click that plus. It's a check-in, add a photo, or add a post. So the social feed, you don't have to be participating in a challenge. You could just post something to the social feed if you wanted to share a picture, share an experience, share a trail that you're on. So really that's where you can, add that post, add a photo. And then the check-in is just if you want to include that geospatial component. So you're basically sharing, I checked in at this specific location, and it shares that location there. So that's really all the plus symbol there is that at the bottom.
Is that then promoted to any other social networks or simply an in-app social feed?
Yeah, so it's in-app social feed. You can share your posts, the way you would share most other things on an Android or iPhone by selecting it. And then you can post it on Facebook or Instagram, and it will have its own unique outer spatial link that's generated.
Okay.
But nothing's a direct post going from social to another social media platform.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, both of you, for the presentation and the demo. It was great to see. Oh, hold on. We have one more question. Commissioner, or go ahead.
I was curious if, like on all trails, whether you can record your hike or your bike route or anything like that at this point?
So we currently don't have route recording. It's something that we've talked about. It's something some organizations have requested here and there. I believe it's in our future roadmap at some point. The reason we don't currently have it is it's something that's very challenging to do well, and it's something very challenging to do right comparative to Strava or all trails. So it's just not a big current push feature for us right now, but it is something to eventually that we would like to get on the roadmap. But currently we don't do route recording. But that's why we have, for now, we have the GPX file download that you can pull off and include in whatever workout application you like.
Okay. Any last questions from anyone? Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nick and Zach, for being here and sharing this with us. We're really excited.
Sure. Nice to see
Awesome.
you.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Okay. Thank you for the agenda too. I just remembered I actually have a copy of this myself. Okay, so that was really, really great to see. And now, do we have any oral communications or directions to staff?
There are no oral communications.
Okay, perfect. No changes to the agenda, right?
There are no changes to the agenda.
Okay, so then the approval of the minutes. Is there, if everyone had a chance to review them, if anyone's prepared to make a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Hanson.
Second.
Oh, somebody second.
Was that a second from Commissioner Warren?
Yes.
Okay, I'll go ahead and take a vote for the minutes. Chair Lappin?
Is the appropriate answer yes? Is it yes?
Yeah.
I approve. Yes, I approve. Okay, thank you.
Vice Chair Ritter?
Approved.
Commissioner Elliott?
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Halloran?
Yes.
Commissioner Warren?
Yes.
And Commissioner Winters?
Yes.
Okay, the motion carries.
Okay, great. So we'll move on to the commission work plan.
All right, I'll pull it up next.
Thank you.
Is that size okay? Is that legible?
It's good for me.
Me too.
Thank you. Okay. So we'll just, I apologize in advance for any background noise that comes from my house. The park tour, Commissioners Warren and O'Halloran, do you have any updates you'd like to share?
We, well, our only updates are based on what staff has updated us on. I think we have a tentative date of August 9th. Is that right? And thank you for looking at that. Do we have a time yet, or are we still looking at what specific programs?
Looked like from 10 to 2, I think, was the save the date.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Tracy, do you want to speak to that briefly?
Sure, I was just going to jump on. So I've been working with staff to coordinate when it would be best to hit some of our most popular programs. So today and yesterday are like our first big 2 days of summer programming. So I will be coordinating that a little bit more specifically in the next week or two and be sending that out to you. Right now we're looking at getting to senior nutrition. to the beach programming, to Seaside Day Camp, and potentially looking to have our lunch at the beach. But again, I'll be circling back with a more specific agenda once I've solidified with staff when you can see the most action.
Awesome, thank you. And then can you just remind all of us while we're on here, we're doing this special meeting in August. Are we confirmed there will be no July actual meeting, but are we also meeting our regular meeting time in August?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what we decided.
That is what we decided, right? Okay. Just wanted to clarify. So no July meeting. We'll have, I think it's back-to-back Tuesdays then in August.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And then, sorry, just one moment. So item number 2 are city-sponsored events serving as city ambassadors by welcoming, meeting, and greeting the public in a volunteer capacity. Staff, are there any upcoming events that we should be aware of through, I mean, specifically, I'm guessing July and August, just that we can be planning for?
Sure. I was also going to hit this in my update. So you're just checking things off my list. We do have the summer concert series returning to Moonlight Beach this year. So that would be at 3 to 5 p.m. is the concert times. July 10th, July 24th, August 7th, and August 21st.
And if commissioners want to volunteer for any of those, should they just reach out to you, letting you know the dates that they're available, and you'll follow up about how to be helpful?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm working with one of my supervisors, Parker Anderson, to coordinate those events. And so he will be on site for all of them. I will be, I believe, at most of them. And so we can coordinate. It'll probably be very similar to movie night, where we'll have the park and rec tent. You can answer questions, see us in all the glory that is recreation events, and potentially do that survey again. It's always a joy to have you there. So anyone that's available, we'd welcome your attendance and participation. And there's a lot of really good bands we have planned. So also some fun music.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. And then Director Carlin, have we made any plans for the holiday parade yet that we should just have on our radar?
Sure. So I can give you a date here. Let me just pull up my calendar. So the holiday parade will be happening the first Saturday in December, which this year falls on December 3rd. Nick Buck heads up that program, and he is just getting started on planning.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. It's just helpful to have those dates as early as possible. So thank you.
No problem.
If you wanted to also mark your calendar, we have the movie in the park in October. And that is on the 8th of October. And that one is at Cottonwood Creek. I just didn't want to get too far ahead of it. If you'd like the dates in advance, that would be one to mark for as well.
What was the date, please?
It is October 8th.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I think having more lead time on these is probably better. So thank you for those dates. And if there are more that come up, obviously we'll keep adding them in. Okay, so item number 3 is identifying guest speakers for monthly meetings. Commissioners Hanson, Elliott, and Winters, if anyone or if all of you would like to give a quick update.
Sure, I'll give a quick lead in. I met with Commissioner Elliott today. I failed to include Winters, and I'm sorry for that. Sorry, Commissioner Winters. But we kind of talked about potential guests for future meetings, and I want to turn it over to Commissioner Elliott to throw out some ideas.
Okay, well, our first idea was for an update on the new trail app. So you've already stolen one of our best ideas. Thank you very much, but we appreciate that presentation today. One of the other things we talked about, the organization of our lifeguards and or something from our Marine Safety Center. We've had presentations from those guys in the past, but it's been a long while, I think. you know, I mean, I can remember Larry Giles coming in a few years ago and giving us an update, but it was probably related to the new Marine Safety Center. So I think it would be interesting, or might be interesting, to have an update from those guys, either from the Marine Safety Center side or from maybe the captain of the lifeguards, and how we manage our lifeguard system here in Encinitas. Is that something you guys, I'm going to just do these one at a time and kind of invite feedback, I think. Is that something that you think would be a good speaker opportunity, or what are your thoughts?
Yes.
Okay, we got some thumbs up. Is there any particular slant on that we'd like to go for?
I've never heard them speak or present.
Yeah,
So.
okay. So just a little more knowledge on how that all plays out. Okay, got it. Thank you.
I'll just add quickly too. I also obviously never heard them speak, but I feel like in the capacity that we talk about beaches and parks and rec, it tends to be more about the structural elements of the beach, the kind of the lead-ins or the staircase issues or things that are happening or programming that maybe occurs at the beach. But I don't really know much about how we run and manage our own beaches. And I know summer is always really hectic.
Oh, that structure, like the city of Encinitas, and then the beaches, which many are state beaches, and how that all interfaces.
Right. I think just understanding more about how the whole organization is run would just be helpful as we look at them as one of our assets.
Okay.
The purview of Parks.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you, Chair. Okay. Any other thoughts on that, or are we ready for the next great idea?
I would just kind of throw out that it's my understanding that a lot of the lifeguard functions is kind of outside our Parks and Rec realm. There are things that we share, like we help them with junior lifeguards regarding the registrations and so forth, but it is kind of like their own organization. So it would be kind of interesting to understand that, yes, they're separate from us, but what is the overlap between our organizations, and just to understand that better.
Okay. Yes. All right. Thank you, Commissioner Ritter. Okay. The other thought that we'll throw out there, I know we're doing more and more organic gardening, but I'm not sure where we are on that. It seems like the reports that I can recall, it's like we were doing some pilot programs in, let's say, 2 parks, and then we added on some other areas. And I guess I was wondering, where are we? How successful are those programs, and what's our long-term intent? Are we trying as a community to just continually be more and more on the organic side, or do we feel that we're going to reach an ideal balance where we're using some organic methodologies and other more traditional methodologies? Would anybody be interested in some of those topics, or do you feel like we're up to speed on that? Yes.
I'm always interested in those things. And I live right by Glen Park, so I see the sign about the organic gardening, but I don't know much more about it than the fact that it exists as a pilot program. So I think it would be interesting to hear who's overseeing that, what they've learned as a result, how successful it's been, how we've replicated it elsewhere. So that'd be my personal opinion.
Okay, and I'm assuming that would, this is something that would basically come from within. This is from Parks and Rec and how a particular program is evolving.
Yeah, that would be from my team.
Yeah, okay. So is there enough widespread interest to pursue that, you guys, other than Chair Lapp?
Yeah. I'm very interested in that too. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So that gives us 2. So we're about in 1,000 here. Oh, the other one that came up, and thank you, Chair Warren, for your email.
Commissioner, just a commissioner now.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Promoted.
Sorry. You've been demoted, I forget. Yeah, the DUDEC organization, what they do for our city, how they're involved in various projects. I've always wondered, and coincidentally, Commissioner Hansen had recently met someone in the DUDEC organization who was a former Parks and Rec commissioner, and I don't know who that would be, but that's kind of an interesting crossover. I think it would be of interest to me. Do you think it's within our purview, or would it be an appropriate opportunity to get a speaker in from DUDEC?
I mean, what I would suggest, I mean, I'm not answering that question if it's out of scope of the, but I think,
you just go ahead and talk.
I think we could look into it and say, because the reason I brought it up is because I met someone at EcoFest. I'm always seeing that. I think there was someone on the traffic commission that it's always popping up. And so I thought it might be nice to reach out to them and say, hey, do you do anything? This is what we're looking at this year on our work plan. And maybe they have some insight. I just thought it was worth a shot to look into them because I've seen them around so much.
Yeah, it might be a wise outreach move for future projects.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any other thoughts?
I don't know anything about what they do. So if it's
the
Parks and Rec, I think it'd be interesting. Staff, is that something that'd be appropriate for us to look into?
They definitely play into what we do as a city, and there's things that they do that sometimes are collaborations with the city. So we can certainly reach out and see if somebody would be interested in coming in and doing a presentation on the overall.
Great, thank you.
I would just like to say that the person I met at the Arbor Day that was a former Parks Commissioner and works for DUDEC, his name is Michael Huff. Does that ring a bell for anybody? But he's interested in coming in and talking, whether it's experience on parks or DUDEC.
Oh, okay. Which raises the next question. I'm sorry, Director Carlin, go ahead.
I just also wanted to say, I just want to kind of state, this is your commission. So if there's something that interests the commission, we can bring pretty much anyone in to come and speak. So every once in a while, we're surprised by a commission and what their request is, but it's something that's of interest to the commission and they think it's important. So certainly, any ideas that you have, we can certainly try to help you arrange a speaker for that.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Which raises the next question. How do we proceed on this, Director Carlin? Is this something, would you want Commissioner Hansen to reach out to his contact at DUDEC, or would you prefer to reach out to these organizations and consider how to place them for upcoming meetings?
So Commissioner Elliott, it's been done both ways. Staff have reached out on behalf of the commission, so we're happy to do that. Or if you have a specific month that you want to feature one for a particular reason, please let us know that. Or if you feel that you'd like to reach out to them directly, that can be done as well. And then just communicate that to Parks Operations Manager Norgard on what date you're thinking. We typically like to keep to one speaker per meeting because we like to give them about 15 to 20 minutes and then 10 minutes. Otherwise, the meeting gets a little long, but we have stacked speakers in the past if we need to.
Since I initiated the contact, I'd like to follow up with them.
Just for DUDEC, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe we should leave it. off the cuff here, it seems like maybe Commissioner Hansen could make the initial contact with DUDEC, and then if there's any follow-up for exact scheduling, Director Carlin and staff could jump in and follow through with that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, include me in that, Commissioners Hansen and Elliott, for scheduling and specifics that'll go into the agenda and things like that.
Okay, all right, thank you, Manager Norgard. And also then the other two, it seems like it would probably be more efficient if you guys if Manager Norgard or Director Carlin, if you made the contact regarding the organic gardening and the lifeguard marine safety issues. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can handle the organic gardening and the lifeguard. For lifeguard, what would be helpful is if you could send me just maybe a couple sentences of particularly what you'd like to hear so that I can give that to them in a discrete bite and they can help determine who from their staff would be best to speak.
Okay.
And I can work through scheduling all of those as well.
Okay. All right, Manager Norgard. If it's okay, Commissioner Hansen, I'll just follow up and I'll kick out an email for the three of us. And now also for Commissioner Winters, we apologize. Let's get you on that too, okay? Even though I know you're going to be out of the country, I'm sure you're going to be following through on all things Encinitas.
I am. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
So I have a question as it relates to Brown Act. If it's the three of us communicating, we copy somebody from the city, is that cool?
That is appropriate. You just can't pull in a fourth commissioner.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great, you guys, thank you. That's a great start for speakers. I'm excited to hear from some of these people. Okay, we'll move on to special projects. So the first is best practices for diversity, equity, and inclusion. I can give a quick update, and then Vice Chair Ritter, you're welcome to add anything else. We had reached out to Manager Staten for some direction as to how we begin exploring what DEI work has already been done in the context of parks and recreation. And Manager Staten, I don't know if you saw my email back to you, but I was struggling to find where on the California Parks and Rec website you found, I found access to that information. So maybe offline you could circle back with us to give us a little bit more guidance as to how to navigate that page to find articles or work that's already been done in that vein.
Yeah, absolutely. I can circle back with you. What I will say is that some of those organizations do require membership. I'm not sure which ones do and don't. Okay. So maybe in this case that one does require membership. So I would just encourage the committee to Google DEI and recreation and see what kind of things you can find. The associations are just one area to explore.
Okay.
And I will certainly forward you any information that comes through me or any directions I can point you in.
Okay, wonderful. Vice Chair Ritter, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I don't have anything to add. Thank you.
Okay. So then next, number 5, volunteer recruitment and implementation. Commissioners Warren and Hansen.
Thank you, Chair Laffin. Commissioner Hansen and I talked about that on the phone today, and then I contacted Director Carlin just for an update, and it sounds like they're in the process of putting together a plan that they need to talk to IT, but I think we're ready to have a meeting. Is that right, Director Carlin? This is just based on our call like an hour ago.
Yes, that is correct. Recreation Services Manager Tracy Staten and I spoke this morning, and we talked about some things that we can do simultaneously to our questions that we had for IT or set up with IT for the software. So yes, definitely.
Yeah, just and an update on that. We do have the software purchased. We just had a little bit of a hang up with some people out of the office. So we should be in a better position now to begin moving forward with our process.
Awesome. That's going to be so cool when that's done.
And I just wanted to add back to the guest speaker, kind of related. I did meet when we were talking about e-bikes last work plan. I met someone who did have a pretty robust volunteer program, and he's retired now for the city of Poway. So that might be another guest speaker that we might be willing to have come and speak and tell us how his program was so successful. So I will look into that.
Great. Thank you. Well, and while we're chatting, any updates on PEP?
We do.
Oh,
We have some updates.
wonderful.
Commissioner Hanson, do you want to speak a little bit?
Yeah, I was recently asked to become the president and serve on the board, and I've agreed, and I'm going to try and get PEP back to life. And
Wow.
get it going.
Congratulations.
So
Thank you, Brad.
it's more responsibility than I've ever had, I think. So we'll see how it flies.
And yeah, I think that's really great that Commissioner Hanson is going to do that. And we talked. I had a conversation with Councilmember Joy Lindas last week about PEP, and she mentioned that she knew a few neighbors that might want to donate for some park-related projects, and we all kind of agreed that we want to have the capacity to accept donations at a minimum, because if someone calls Parks and Rec and they say, we want to give you all this money, I mean, it's important to have that mechanism in place, and it makes things easier and speeds up the process. So at a minimum, and that's why we're just trying to we don't want to get too excited here. We're not going to go crazy, but I do think we can go to those summer concerts, and that would be helpful, and that would help kind of give a PEP a little bit more life as well. But I think, and I hopefully I should be able to look at the website and build that into the website where we can accept donations. So we're excited about that.
Oh, we have some questions. So Commissioner Warren, I'll let you, if you can see hands raised, I'll let you go person by person if you're comfortable doing that to answer questions.
Yes, and this is all really new, this information about our new president. So we need to talk about how this is all going to happen, and we'll do that. But yes, Commissioner Ritter.
I was curious with regards to the pavers that have been promoted to the community that were used like at the ECP. Did that go through PEP, or was that something that it went directly to Parks and Rec?
It went directly. This is my understanding is it went directly. However, we advertised. We had flyers when PEP was set up to promote itself. We were helping spread that opportunity. Is that correct, Director Carlin? I don't, because
So I'll put my hand down now. I did wanted to say you are correct in that, Commissioner Warren. Also, I just wanted to let you also know that we do have a mechanism right now in the meantime to accept donations. We have a donation fund, and people can earmark for specific projects. The PEP organization really is our fundraising arm, because we don't have the ability to go out and fundraise for a particular project. So, but we can accept donations if somebody was wanting to donate to a specific park project. So I just wanted to make sure that people were understanding that. And I also want to say thank you, Brad, for stepping up.
You got it.
Much appreciated.
Great. Commissioner Ritter, did you have another?
I did. So it was my understanding that PEP allowed those donations to be tax deductibles. So if they donated to the city directly, I would assume that means that it would not be tax deductible. Is that correct?
I would have to check into the answer to that question, Commissioner Ritter, get back to you on that.
I think when we are looking at larger donations, people ideally would like to have their donations be tax deductible if at all possible. And I'm sure Commissioner Hanson, that's probably one of your goals too, is to make sure that all the appropriate nonprofit status paperwork is up to date with the organization.
I've actually already started that, Commissioner Ritter.
Fantastic.
I started that about a month, maybe 2 ago, and I need to follow up. The accountant's out in Hawaii, and he's on Hawaii time, so it's a little bit difficult to get him to respond to anything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. Any other questions or updates on that particular work plan item? Okay, well, hooray for Commissioner Hansen. How exciting. You'll be wonderful. I have full confidence.
Thank you.
Okay, so work plan item number 7, research and planning for outdoor adult fitness equipment. If any of the commissioners would like to give a quick update.
I'll go ahead and take an initial stab at it. We have world traveling commissioners that are on this particular ad hoc committee. And I think ideally we would like to set up a meeting with park staff and just kind of get everybody on board and have some discussions, particularly since Commissioner Elliott just recently joined us. So looking at our schedules, we're kind of to the point where really August is when we will all be available, where we can sit in the room and speak with park staff. We prefer an in-person meeting to kind of go through it. So I'll work on coordinating that to do. I would say kind of in lines with what Commissioner Elliott was speaking to earlier regarding speakers. I think that perhaps considering that this has been something that's been on our agenda for the last, or work plan for the last couple years now, is that I think it would be worthwhile for the committee to hear a presentation perhaps from one of the vendors that the city of Encinitas has used in the past for playground equipment, for instance, that also produce outdoor adult fitness. And we can kind of perhaps discuss, you know, what some of the options are, what are things that people are particularly interested in these days in adult fitness outside. And I think it would be nice to have kind of a general background for all the commissioners. You know, I obviously have a bit of a passion for it and have experienced lots of different outdoor fitness parks. But I think it would be worthwhile for us to have kind of a baseline as a commission as well.
Great, thank you. Are there any other, either of the other commissioners have anything to add, or are we ready to move on? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea to have a presentation on adult fitness equipment. I guess I have a quick question probably for Director Carlin. Does that pose any problems as far as choosing one equipment provider over another? Would it be appropriate, and is it something that you could comfortably do?
So as long as we don't have an active RFP or RFB out for a project specific to that, it would be appropriate. Where we don't want to get into is if we do have an RFP or RFB that's including fitness equipment and we have active bidders out there, then it gets a little bit dicey. So we want to make sure that we're staying away from that. But you know, you can certainly, if you have there's even some I don't want like fitness dealers that may use different types of equipment. That might be one that'll give you a little bit a broader selection of what could be possible out there. But like I said, if we're in an RFP process or RFB, then it gets dicey. But otherwise, I think it's totally fine.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, guys. And Commissioner Winters, I have to ask, where are you in the world?
I'm home. No, I'm here.
Oh.
I'm not. I might be traveling later, but I'm in Encinitas.
Oh, wonderful. We're happy to have you.
Thanks.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so then the last item is around Trails Master Plan. And I'm happy to give a quick update on this. So Commissioners Warren and Winters, we all wrote a quick email to Nick Buck and regarding just how to be helpful and where we can lend our support. And his presentation today was fantastic. I think it's great to see how much progress it has gone into the app and how much we're going to be capable of doing. So as of now, he's asked us to just stand by until the app is out in the public and we can start helping to kind of test and provide feedback once it's live. And I'm hoping we'll have an opportunity to be helpful to him wherever and however he needs it. But as of now, that's all that we have going on this ad hoc. Commissioners Warren or Winters, did you want to add anything?
I can just add, I actually have a conflict, so I have to get off pretty soon.
Yes.
I apologize, but I sent some notes to Commissioner Winters, but I can tackle this myself. I just want to make a couple more points about the app. Didn't want to take up too much of their time earlier, but I love that you can have specific detail on a particular trail. And we've talked about parking in our own current maps where you look at a trail and you're wondering, well, you know, how do you get there and what's the situation? So I think that's really adds a lot of value and to the experience of going out on our trails. And just to emphasize the importance of connecting all of our segments with the outings, I think that's huge. Because there's lots of little pieces like Cactus Pass Trail. No one's going to go out, park, and just do that. So I think we can really help with that. And us being a Lebanon resident, I mean, Encinitas residents, we can help with that process too. And then the El Camino del Norte Trail, I think it's 95. Is that the right number? That one is looking really good. And I met a resident who wanted to donate some plants to help add some shade along that area. So I will connect with staff about that. But that's all I have.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us for what you could. We'll see you in 2 months-ish.
Yeah. I'll hang on for as long as I can.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay. And then staff, is this when we report back on item 9 as well?
So point of order, Commissioner Lapin, you do not need to bring up 9 and 10 because those are just routine things.
Okay.
So that's just what we do at the end of the year.
Okay. But do we discuss the fact that our last year's work plan was approved by City Council? Or is that you're going to talk about that?
Well, yeah, we could. I can mention that right now. So it was approved. We moved forward. It was approved at the City Council meeting last week, and so we just get started on the work plan.
Woohoo! Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so then we are moving into the park operations report.
All right, that's me. So I have a couple items to share tonight. The first one is we have quite a few things going on at the beaches right now, as you would expect with our busy season. The shower at the D Street Beach Access is under renovation right now. If you've been to D Street recently, you know that structure is, the shower is basically cantilevered off of one of the platforms there. It gets a lot of use and it often has shade, so it stays wet for quite a long time. So we've hired a contractor that does a lot of work on our beach accesses to go in and renovate that. He's doing a deep power wash on some of the boards to get any of the film off and bring back some traction. And he's also going to be refurbishing and replacing some of our other timbers there. So we will have a good shot at getting through the rest of the busy summer season with that shower intact. I've been down there a couple times while he's working, and I've heard people passing by basically thanking him and saying they appreciate the work that's going on there. So I look forward to that being complete before the 4th of July weekend. Also at Swami's, staff recently undertook a renovation effort for several of the benches that are there. So we have a total of 16 memorial benches at Swami's, and we removed 8 of them for refurbishment. 2 of the benches have reached the end of their serviceable life and will not be replaced in kind. We've contacted all of the original donors, tried to make contact with all of the original donors to let them know what's going on. 6 of the benches will be refurbished and replaced back on site. 4 of them will also receive center armrests that are custom made from the original manufacturer. So they're all concrete benches. And so that manufacturer created some custom center armrests that we'll put onto those benches. We're going to get them all cleaned up, make some topical repairs to them, and then get them back in place when those are ready to go. And since the benches are out right now, we'll be doing some power washing in those areas to get away any stains. It's kind of like when you move a rug that has been covering up hardwood floors and you can see the sunspots. So we just want to get those out and make sure that everything is looking good. Quite a few people have noticed that those benches are not there and said that it actually looks pretty good with a little bit less clutter on site. So we're going to be taking a look at where each of the benches go and if they're serving in the best area out there. And then last time I gave a brief update on beacons. Just real briefly tonight, just to let you know that staff and Scripps Institute of Oceanography have been continuing to monitor beacons. Scripps installed several tilt meters out there that monitor the bluff for very small movement. I would encourage everyone to tune into the city council meeting tomorrow night, where staff from the engineering department will give a much more broad overview than I will tonight. And so I'll just kind of leave that there. And then if there's any questions after tomorrow regarding beacons, feel free to reach out to me with that. Switching over to parks, we're kind of coming to the tail end of our rest and renovation periods for several of our sports fields. So renovations have been completed at Ecke Car Sports Park and Encinitas Community Park. Work focused on rest, so we actually closed several of these fields for an extended period of time to keep traffic off of them. But then we have also performed a very high level professional aeration on those fields, sod work, and then some really detailed irrigation work to make sure that we have proper coverage, but also reduce any excess flows. So several of the staff, the parks and beach supervisors, have a rather extensive background in golf course maintenance and operations. And I think that shows in some of our sports fields currently, and we've received quite a few compliments and feedback recently from some of our users that the fields are looking better than ever. So I'm actually really excited that one of the next ones that we're going to move on to will be the practice field at Carver Sports Park, which is in between the dog park and the skate bowl. If you've been over there recently, you know that that field, it gets a ton of use, and there's some bare spots in there. So we're going to close that for a period of time and do some pretty deep renovations on it. And I think that one will be looking great when we open it later this summer. And then also related to the beaches, and this kind of goes back to the comment from Outer Spatial about owners and stewards. Each year we provide an annual report to California State Parks for the beaches that we manage under our operating agreement. That operating agreement's been in place since 1988. And we compile data on usership and funds that are expended to operate the beaches and lifeguards and things like that. It's a whole bunch of data crunching that we do. I'm kind of just getting into it this year. That report's due towards the end of summer. So we've been pulling data from our beach counters to get that usership and put all of that together. It's a pretty comprehensive report. And it's also pretty interesting to see. For example, in fiscal year 2021, 3 million people visited the beaches that the city manages through that operating agreement. So as that comes to a close, I can give some more updates on what that data looks like. I don't have all of it yet. Unfortunately, some of the counters are rather finicky and we have to extrapolate some of the data. some of the counters we have to take manual readings from. So unlike outer spatial, some of our counters are still kind of a couple steps back in technology land. And then just lastly, as a housekeeping reminder, Director Carlin mentioned this earlier today in an email, but just for posterity's sake, if I send out an email, I try to BCC everybody and leave a note in there not to reply all. I can't do that when it's a calendar invite, so please don't reply all to those, just so we can respect Brown Act. If you ever have a question or you're questioning whether or not you should or shouldn't, just reach out to myself or any of the other staff, and we can get you in the right direction on that. That concludes my report. I see a couple questions, possibly.
Yes, please.
First.
Sure. My question was more around all of the grass and the field maintenance in the context of a drought. Do we have any responsibilities as a municipality to limit water usage, or we just follow the state? And if that happens in the midst of our reseeding, are there, like, I guess, how are we responding to the drought with the way that we're managing our parks?
Sure, that's a good question. I'll answer that somewhat briefly, but the order of operations would be the state will give their guidance either through regular guidance or an executive order, which is what we saw 6 years ago during the last major drought. And then that filters down to the municipal water agencies, and they will also give guidance. And just as stewards of the land, we do have a responsibility, and there are things that we do through our normal operations to be respectful of that, which I kind of touched on with the field renovations. We pretty routinely seek out and inspect any delinquent heads or heads that are older in technology and not as good. We also utilize the CalSense system, which will send automatic alerts to us if we have water leaks, and will automatically shut itself off in the event of a high flow situation. But more specifically with the drought, many of our sports fields are on reclaimed water, and so those often have exemptions or different use requirements during a drought. In fact, the municipalities, when you have reclaimed water, often have a difficult time getting rid of the reclaimed water if that is pulled back in use. Other parks like Cardiff Sports Park, which is potable, we will work with our customers out there to let them know. So if we have leagues and such that use those, let them know when we see those things coming ahead of time, and let them know that they may need to adjust their play either down or expectations as well. So yeah, we do follow all of those things. We do try to be proactive in those things. If there's an opportunity to bring those parks online to potable water, if the agency is going to bring a main line to that area, then that's something that we want to be a part of that conversation as well for just long-term stewardship.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Winters.
Yeah, thank you. I had a strikingly similar question, but a little bit different. I recall during the previous drought, I guess I was going to ask, was it a state order where they also turned off the showers at the beach? I think I recall that. And I just was wondering, is it that same process where you get an order from the state, or do we do anything locally with beach showers and things like that as well?
That was an executive order from the governor. And so that basically informed the state, who is the underlying landholder, which filtered back to us as the operator to turn off showers. I understand that some of the cities in the region interpreted those differently, but that's how it would work. If the governor did issue an executive order, we would follow that. It doesn't have to be through an executive order, but in that instance it was, and it was pretty wide-ranging.
Great, thank you.
Sure. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Manager Norgard. Manager, State and Recreation Services report.
Yes, absolutely. So as I mentioned, the summer is kicking off this week. So it's been a hectic time getting to where we are, but we're thrilled with the participation we're seeing. Our junior guards camps are completely full. Beach kids, we have wait lists. Our Seaside Day Camp at Glen Park is super popular and also in a sellout situation for the majority of the weeks. We have limited availability for some of our other camps, but we're just really seeing people excited to get back out into the programming and, you know, take advantage of all the amenities and programming we have here in Encinitas. While we just kicked off summer, we are actually already working towards our fall recreation guide. So staff is diligently collecting times and offerings to put in our electronic system so we can put the layout together. As a point to note, this fall, we're going to be going digital with our rec guide, and all that groundwork is being laid now. So our tentative registration date, not so tentative, for fall programming is August 15th. So as you can imagine, busy with summer, but already planning for fall. Talked about summer concert series and the rec tour, so I think we're good there. We are currently recruiting for a rec services or a recreation supervisor. This position will be overseeing a lot of our senior nutrition program, helping out with some arts programming. That position's been vacant since the end of 2021, and we're looking to move forward currently with that position, a little bit of a tweak in the scope potentially. And that position closes for applications June 26th. So we're really excited to bring another amazing team member into the fold and get them running and up to speed. And then because we were talking about the outdoor fitness equipment, I thought it would be pertinent to share that the air walker has been installed at the senior center. So on the senior center patio, we have all of that outdoor fitness equipment. And we added a fifth element, which was the air walker, and that is installed and ready for use. We've already seen some people on it. It seems to be pretty fun. I haven't yet had an opportunity to try it, but I look forward to that. And if you're in the area, swing by. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, great. We'll move on to the director's report.
Thank you, Chair Lappin and Commissioners. I just have a couple updates. I think I've mentioned in the past that we're working on the artwork for the I-5 underpass at Encinitas Boulevard. We've finally come to a final design with the artist, and so we're ready to provide them with a notice to proceed on fabrication tomorrow. And so that artwork is tentatively looking like it's going to be installed in October. So we'll have 4 beautiful ribbons of artwork that will be added to the I-5 underpass there. So we're very excited about that. We have a couple other art projects that are in the works as far as RFPs. The first one is our sculpture project, where we are going to be placing 5 different sculptures in the 5 different communities. And the last one that we have is the El Portal undercrossing artwork. So we have an RFP out and an RFQ out for those 2 projects right now. Arts is bursting at the seams with the news of Pacific View. Everybody's excited, and so we're looking at strategies to increase arts programming over the next couple years to get ready for that facility. So we've been working a lot with the Arts Division on that. I'm still working on the Encinitas Ranch Golf Authority RFP. We just had our meeting on Friday with all the candidates for the management of the golf course. We had 9 show up, which is impressive. So we're very excited about that. We're moving forward. Right now we're in the question and answer period, and we're looking to close that RFP on the 15th of July. As you may all have heard, the budget was approved last week. So we've got some money for next year. So that's very good. So we can continue our operations. And then we have some small projects that will be on our list, including the major use permit over at Encinitas Community Park. So we have those coming up for this next year. I'm not sure if anybody's had caught wind of this yet, but we are going to be doing a proclamation tomorrow night at the regular city council meeting for July. Is Parks and Recreation Month. This is the last meeting that the council has before they go on recess. So Deputy Mayor Moscow will be presenting a proclamation to the Parks and Recreation Department and celebrating our Parks and Recreation here in our city of Encinitas. One other thing that we're working on, we're tentatively planning, and we'll make sure that the commission is well aware of the date, is we are looking to do a trail ribbon cutting for Trail 95 once it's complete. We're looking at a completion date here at the end of the month, and we're looking to do a possible trail ribbon cutting at the end of July or beginning of August. So as soon as we have that date nailed down, we'll let you know. And then as far as recruitments go, just when we think we're almost there, as far as a full team, Crystal Roth has retired. She has been with us for a long time. She's a wealth of knowledge and a great coworker and friend, and we miss her dearly. So she's been gone now 2 weeks, which is crazy to see. I did get to visit with her, and she looks very rested and relaxed. So congratulations to her on her retirement. But we are in the midst of a recruitment for that as well. That recruitment closed here on the 19th. We got some outstanding candidates, so we're looking forward to moving forward with some interviews for that position. And that concludes my report.
We have a couple of questions. Is
right.
that all right?
Right.
Commissioner Hanson, go ahead. Go first.
Well, first of all, I'm sorry to hear that Crystal's gone. I mean, she was just such a valuable asset to the city.
Absolutely.
And just wonderful to work with. And I think you may have touched on it at our last meeting. Is JC Resorts out on the golf course management?
So they are the current provider, and they are a prospective bidder.
Okay, thank you.
Is that your question, Brad?
Yes.
Or Commissioner Hanson, excuse me. Okay, I'll ask mine quickly then. What will be our role as a Parks and Rec and Arts group when it comes to Pacific View?
So right now the programming is pretty much identified as far as what the uses are there. What we did do is we created at the last Arts Commission meeting an ad hoc committee to talk about actual programming at the site. But as I said, the uses of that are pretty specific about what we can do as far as zoning. So it will be a small committee. We are going to be doing some public meetings on programming that will be happening at the Arts Commission meetings. That's what we're anticipating right now. So we're going to meet for a couple meetings and then bring back what some of the things that things we're going to be recommending, and then notice the public so that they can come and speak on those items and give public input, so that way it can shape the way that the programming looks there. It's likely that a lot of that programming there will follow a similar model to what we do over at the Community and Senior Center, where we recruit contract instructors. We may have some drop-in times, some room for some smaller events and such there. So that's really what we're looking at as far as the programming and such. As far as the building itself, it's mostly going to be renovated as it is. So the rooms will stay the same sizes. Really, it's just updating the facility to current standards.
Okay, so but if we had, let's just say art ceramics classes or painting or whatever it may be that were being held at Pacific View, it would still be published through our Parks and Rec guide of programming. Is that the current thinking, at least?
Not necessarily. I've worked in different cities that have taken different approaches to this, so we have to really discuss that still. I've had cities like the city of Irvine actually publishes a separate guide for their art center because it is so specific to art, and they do a lot of really high-end classes there. I've also seen where, if we do a published guide, having a smaller insert. But really what we're trying with the recreation guide this fall is to go digital. So I'm expecting that we'd probably do something similar, whether it be together or separate.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Vice Chair Ritter, I think you're up.
Okay. I had two questions. One, I was curious whether the shade structure had been installed over the Encinitas Community Center's outdoor sporting equipment yet.
Sure. So we have explored the shade structure, and we've determined a shade structure for that. The senior commission did weigh in on that. And the initial response from the senior commission was that they wanted a little bit larger shade structure to make sure that we were covering all the equipment. And Tracy, jump in if I'm telling the wrong information, but this is what I heard from you. And so we went back and we found a little bit of additional funding to make that shade structure larger and to be able to install that later this summer, early fall.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
And then as So if I'm understanding correctly, the quarterly recreation guide that we've been mailing out for as long as I've been in Encinitas, you're suggesting now that we're just going to go digital on that?
Correct. So what we found is that paper costs keep going up. And last year, when we approved this contract with our current vendor, printing CEO, it was asked by our city council to really do our due diligence in finding out how responsive people are to our actual printed guide. So at that time, we added a custom question to all of our programs. And what we found is that we're really only getting about an 8% response on the printed guide. Most of our participants selected that they hear about our programs from word of mouth, and then they go to our website, or the repeat customers. So we found that marketing tool might not be the most effective tool. So what we're going to be doing for this fall is doing a pilot to see what our response rate is for our programs, and kind of monitor it as we move forward. And if it doesn't turn out good, then we move back to a printed guide. But we're gonna take a chance at this for this fall. For historical reference, we did do this about 10 to 12 years ago. But as you know, things have changed from 10 to 12 years ago. People are a lot more savvy online. They understand where to find things online. Also, we're hoping with our new website, we can be a little bit more. We can be a little bit more out there with our parks and recreation programs. Additionally, by saving money on printing costs, we can utilize some of those funds for additional marketing of our events or additional marketing of this recreation guide digitally. So we're going to take a different approach with this fall and see what response we get from the community.
Direct mail was actually where I spent my career in the last 26 years. I would say there's also a middle ground as you make the transition. And that is, I think that a lot of people also use the guide as a reminder that, oh, yeah, I need to sign up. So rather than actually sending out the entire guide, then another option would be that you send out a postcard, which would be just a reminder to the community that registration is now open. If you want to look at the various events that are available, go to our website. So I would just say that the community is waiting for that guide to come out. If they don't see it come out, there may be some bumps. The postcard is something that is less expensive to produce. It's the same cost basically to mail, but at least it might be kind of an easier way to transition people to the digital communications.
Yes, and we are having some internal conversations about that right now. As far as how we get that word out. Yes, we're definitely looking into that.
Thank you. I think that's a great idea too, Vice Chair Ritter, like a QR code or something even to link as we get people. Commissioner Hanson, do you still have another question?
No.
Okay, perfect. Okay, anyone else? Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you all staff for your updates. Okay, so any commission member initiated agenda items? Okay. Any future agenda items? Okay. Commission reports. So I'm just going to go in order of my screen. So Commissioner Hanson, if you have anything to add at Commissioner Roundtable.
Nothing really to add other than I am just having so much fun seeing the manager Norgard, Staten, and Director Carlin gel as a team and doing an awesome job. I mean, it's really impressive to have, been on board just as these guys were coming on board and watching everything gel. So thanks, guys.
Hear, hear. Thank you, Commissioner Hanson. Vice Chair Ritter?
I don't have anything. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Elliott?
Just a couple of quick things. And the first is really a question. I spent Father's Day walking the new trail along Manchester up to the new suspension bridge that goes along I-5. Is that part of our purview? Is that part of our trail system? That's a no. Okay, well, DOT or whoever put all that in, it's beautiful. It could use some signage, but otherwise it's super fun. And the other thing is that I've recently been approached by friends from the sand volleyball community, and they're looking for updates. And it occurred to me that we, as an ad hoc commission last year, initiated a system of giving them updates and promised to continue the updates. So if there's a way for us to honor that and maybe get a quick update, yes, Director Carlin.
Sorry, Commissioner Elliott, I do not believe we're allowed to have discussions.
Okay.
So why don't you please email Manager Norgard, and he can answer any question you have.
Okay, we'll circle back and try to find a solution for that. And right now, I know you guys are all swamped with summer programs. So thank you for all you're doing. And I'm sure it's going to be a wonderful summer. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner O'Halloran?
Not much. I just second Commissioner Hansen's feedback for Travis, David, and Tracy. Really good to see everyone working together and the team grow and really deliver. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Commissioner Winters.
Yes, I'll be brief. Just the development of the trail on Camino del Norte, which I think is, we said 95, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's going to be a great addition to that part of Encinitas. I think it's going to have a lot of really good, it looks beautiful as is. It's not even done. It's going to be fantastic. And I think it's really going to help with safety as well. I mean, there are definitely people that use that path to come up either to school or other types of connectivity. I just think it's a great, I think it's coming along really well. I'm excited it's going to be finished shortly. And I'm just super happy and proud that that's happening on our collective watch. So congratulations to everybody who worked hard on that, getting that trail to where it is. And I'm sure it's going to be great in a few weeks when it's finished.
Thank you. Okay, I really don't have anything to add myself other than I'm very much looking forward to the summer concert series. So best of luck to staff getting those into the world again after a hiatus. And I can't wait to attend. And that's all I have to say. And Commissioner Hansen, your hand is still raised, and I'm assuming that's just left.
No, you just didn't. Oh, do I need to unraise it?
You do, but I just wanted to make sure you didn't have anything else you wanted to say.
Oh yeah, I'd like to keep us the rest of the night. No, I didn't know I was.
That's okay. I just wanted to make sure.
You look tired.
I'm beat. I spent 4 hours in the yard today.
No, from holding your hand up.
that too. Okay, awesome. So then we will adjourn the meeting at 7:13 p.m. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Happy summer. We'll see you in August.
See you then.